And hello and welcome everyone this evening to JAS Live, our experiment we're trying with Just Another Stream. That is the acronym for JAS. And tonight I've got two special brothers with me. I've got Brother Gorilla. How you doing, Gorilla?
Oh, I'm doing all right. A little pissed though.
I understand.
Well,
You already told me. Yeah.
well, I put a note on the door. They're telling them to drop my package, my new computer off, and put it in the porch on the desk, right?
Yeah.
So this whole day, they were. I was waiting for my computer, waiting for my computer. You know, and I was even making bets with people. I said, I bet you fucking UPS doesn't follow the damn big old note I put on the fucking door saying to put it in the porch. No, they took it to the fucking post office. So now I have to wait till tomorrow and I have to go up there early in the morning to go get it.
Wow. That's messed up.
That's
and how you doing? Yeah, and how you doing, PvP?
I'm doing okay. Actually, today went by fairly quickly again. This last 3 days this week have gone by really quite quickly, which is a relief because after Monday night, I just want to get the week over with because I'm still PO'd from what happened Monday night. Believe me.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't had time to actually even read much about it yet, right? So there's a whole bunch of videos I got to catch up on, but
sure.
Yeah, it looks pretty messed up. I noticed one video on YouTube when I was on my lunch break today, and I haven't watched it yet, so I don't know if it's true. I mean, you never know I don't know what to believe anymore, to be honest. But this one guy had posted the title of the YouTube video was that the ballots that were marked in pen were not counted. Now, I marked my ballot in pen because when I went to the voting station and talked to the people at the table where they took my voter's card and looked at my driver's license and crossed my name off the list with the ruler like they always do. And I went behind and I saw there was a pen and a pencil. And I said, well, what's with the pen? And the lady said, oh, well, some people requested a pen. And I said, well, is that okay to mark the ballot with a pen? And she's like, oh, yeah, it's perfectly fine. And then I see that video today where it's like any ballots with a pen were not counted, which I think is bullshit because there's still an X through the candidate's name, whether it's pen or pencil. What difference does it make? I mean, that's a valid ballot as far as I'm concerned, and it should be counted. So I don't know what's going on. Yeah. You know, there's a lot. I'm starting to think there's a lot of funny things happening with this past, election.
Yeah. And I just want to say hello to Resolute Germ. Yep, I did see you come in, sir. He's we're simulcasting on both myself and on our channel and on Gorilla's channel. So thank you for coming by, Resolute Germ. I appreciate that. So tonight we're just going to go ahead and discuss quickly. About Prelude to Axanar, which came out 11 years ago in 2014. I know a lot of people have seen it. I know Gorilla said he's seen it more than 10 times. I've seen it like 5 times in my whole life. So, I mean, it's like, it's absolutely awesome. Sci-Fi Sedan, hello, welcome.
Yeah, hey, Sedan, hey, Jeremy.
Hey.
Yeah, hey, guys.
Hey, Sedan. Hey, Sedan, glad that you joined us. And thank you for being here.
Hi there.
Hey. So have you seen both? I'm assuming, Sivdan, you've seen Axanar and you've seen the unification video. It's just over 10 minutes, and we'll get to it as soon as we go quickly here through Axanar, but through key scenes and stuff. But what'd you think of them so far? I mean, are they pretty cool Star Trek fan films? I really enjoy them. I think they should be canon, but of course that's me. I don't know about other people, but still, it's kind of cool.
I will say this, Prelude to Axanar, it's a pretty good Star Trek. And as for unification, it was a good send-off. And we could talk about the episode unification once we officially talk about that part. Unless you want to talk about Prelude to Axanar first, and then do the unification part last.
That's what we were just about to get to. So
Well, it makes
Okay.
sense to it makes sense to do unification last because that's a send off in itself, right?
Oh, totally. Yeah. Okay, so we were able to get here. This is the opening. So what I'm gonna do is just play like about 2 minutes of each thing. It's only about 20 minutes long, so so we'll just hopefully you guys can hear it. I got the volume up and everything, so
transmission of the United Federation of Planets. The United Federation of Planets Historical Society, in association with Memory Alpha, presents the 4 Years' War.
Stardate 2241.03. The planet Arcanus 4. Founded nearly a century before, this research outpost has grown into a flourishing, full-scale city. It is a shining example of Federation progress.
Mikey.
There could be no Federation without Earth. And the fact that the humans could lead the formation of the Federation just a few years after
way
the
too
war
much.
with
You're
the
gonna get
Romulan
hit
Empire
real
is nothing short
Can
of
you turn down the
extraordinary.
volume?
But it represents something very
You
different.
should probably pause it.
Growing tired of diplomacy.
Pause it. Okay.
I would, if I were you, I would just, without even playing much, I would just like skip through it, like to the main,
Okay.
to the main actors or the main scenes. Just like a series of stills would probably be safer. Is that what you're thinking, Gorilla? Like,
yeah. Well, and also when you do clips, try to stick to 15 seconds or less. I know I screw up on that quite a bit on Walton's, but Warner Brothers is usually pretty generous. But try to keep the less. But Paramount is an ass.
Yeah, I understand. I've done okay. Just so you guys know, and you've probably seen some previous Star Trek fan films I've discussed before. I usually only do less than a minute, so I know that Paramount can be boogers, but sometimes if it's less than a minute or so, I don't think they really give a shit. I mean, they just kind of look at it and go, "Oh, okay, so he's seen it, whatever." And yeah, but I'll advance it. I'll just advance it. So. Okay, so I just wanted to play like I said about the first minute or so to show you that this is not your ordinary Star Trek. I mean, this reminds me a lot more of like when Star Trek was actually decent and you were like putting together a production and things like that. And
this reminds me a lot of more of the TOS era of Star Trek because. I mean, it is mentioned about the Klingon battle cruisers towards the end, right? And that directly ties into the time frame of when the Enterprise and Kirk and Spock were patrolling the galaxy, right? So I see this as the TOS era Trek. This film.
Well, the problem with Axanar, this guy screwed it up for everybody. Mikey, I just do 10 seconds at a time there, but the 10-second skip. But that's what I do with the Waltons there. But the problem is the guy who created this is such an ass, and he kept running his mouth, kept lipping off about Paramount there to the point where they sued his ass, and then now we got all these rules we got to follow. Before they were very lenient on fan films, but then you get this ass running his mouth, which is I'm not shooting down the film. I am shooting down the creator. There's a difference.
Right.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of stories about him being pretty egotistical too, Gorilla. So yeah, I pretty much agree with what you just said there. Yeah. And the thing is, I mean, look at stuff like Star Trek Continues or whatever. Like, those are still up. I mean, Paramount hasn't pulled them off. So, that's a good thing, right? So Paramount are not like total dicks or anything. Because they could have taken those down. They could have forced those channels off, but they didn't, right? So
yeah, well, that's because those people weren't running their mouths like this guy was.
Yeah, exactly.
And just want to welcome the Drew 24. He came into the chat here. Welcome, Drew. And also,
There.
Sifdan, yeah, you're fine. Sifdan is also cross streaming, so I believe Drew is on your channel there, right? Right,
Yes.
Dan? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah.
Yes,
and he says,
yeah. Yes, and Mikey, if you're willing to look in your private chat, we could watch this through other means.
Oh, okay.
That's what I mentioned earlier, but it seems like Mikey and Gorilla just wanted to do a review more than a watch party. Maybe you want to explain that to Dan?
Okay. Let me ask you this, Sit-Dan. Have you watched both of them?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So, all right. So I'm going to go ahead and Cosme link. So let's see. Let's do that. Okay.
I mean, Mikey, it's just if you want. I mean, if you want to watch the whole thing without getting copyrighted, when you go ahead and do that through my Cosby link. Unless you want to do just basically try while the video is paused, just flash forward a few 10 seconds at a time. That way we see scene by scene without getting copyrighted.
Well, the thing is, from what Mikey said previously, I thought it would be a watch party of both of those films, and because that way we can Cosme it, and we don't have to play the soundtrack on here, so that would be safe, and that we could still talk and make our comments while we're watching. Right, was what I thought we'd do. It'd be like a watch party commentary simultaneous kind of situation.
Well,
right?
as like I said, I just got Dan's. I have the Cosme, and here I'm going to paste it. I'm going to put this into the chat.
Yeah,
So,
put it in the public. Yeah.
Yeah. So here is the Cosme link. If everyone wants to go to Sifdan's simulcast room, there he has the Cosme link set up for Prelude to Axanar, and if you like, we can go ahead and watch through it. Without any any blockage or anything for Paramount.
I would. Well, it's only 15 or 20 minutes, so I wouldn't
It's
mind
about
watching
21 minutes long, and Unification's less than that. It's like 10 minutes. So,
well, like I said, between both of them, we're looking at around 30 minutes, right? So,
yeah, very cool. All right, thank you, sir. So,
are we going to head over to Cosby then, guys?
Yeah, we'll head on over to Cosby. We'll take a look and we'll talk about it while it goes on. So,
okay, I'm just clicking on the link right now.
Awesome. Okay.
And I am there.
Let me sign in. Yeah, I'm going to log into my.
I am there
with my Google.
So, is everyone all set?
Yeah, we're all set. Let's go, sir.
I'm good to go.
Yeah, I'm good to go. Start from the beginning.
All
go
right.
for it. Germ's in there. Sales in there.
And it's kind of loud. I gotta turn it down.
I can't hear anything.
Shit.
I can hear it.
I can't. Oh, I got it. All
you have to do is remember on your blue volume, just raise it all the way up, and then Dan just has to reduce his.
Yeah, I got it. I got it. I got it fixed now. It's good.
Okay, awesome. Go ahead, Dan.
I had to turn down the YouTube volume. Is it still kind of loud, or is it okay?
I can hear it. I can hear it just fine.
Can you turn it up?
Just a little bit. Okay, so Gorilla needs it turned up slightly. Perfect. There we go. Awesome. Yeah. We'll just watch it and then we'll talk about it real quick.
You guys.
Yeah, leave it to the fucking Vulcans.
That is pretty awesome, though. I gotta say, for 11 years ago, these effects are just so awesome. They're great.
I still don't forgive the Vulcans.
Did you know that Robert Meyer Burnett actually worked on the special effects on this?
Yeah, I do believe he worked on that. Yeah.
He talked about this on his channel several times. And he actually showed a lot of clips on his channel, guys, of some of the unfinished battle sequences that were like not ever finished because the production got, halted. But he showed a lot of stuff that never got made the final cut because, it wasn't finished, right?
Right.
But I think the effects in this are fabulous. They're way better than Discovery stuff, that's for sure.
Yeah, like I said, I miss Tony Todd. I mean, I talked to Gorilla, and then Suzanne and I are going to go see Final Destination Bloodlines, but I missed him.
Well, we've lost.
Last one.
It's not just Tony Todd, but we got Richard Hatch in this that we've lost too, right?
Yeah, and this guy Gary Graham. Yeah.
Oh, is he gone too? Oh man,
he's gone too.
Yeah, he's been gone for a year or two.
Damn.
Yeah, he died around the same time that Tony Todd did. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, those were two back-to-back devastating losses.
Gosh.
That's Pilvar Garth. He's played by Alec Peters, and he's been in Axanar and other stuff. There's Hertzler.
Oh, I love this
He's
line.
still alive.
Oh, I love that line. The only thing they're doing is impressive is dying well.
Oh, I miss Richard Hatch. Oh man.
Well, Hatch was so good in this too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he really was good, a great Klingon in this.
Yeah, totally awesome. Hey, Gorilla, is this the first time they ever showed the Hall of the Immortals here in Kronos? On Kronos?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Man, I love the look of Klingon ships. They're so cool.
Yeah, these are the D6 ones.
Yeah, these are before the D7s, right? Yeah.
Yes.
I still think the D7s are my favorite Klingon ship, though.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Oh man, look at those effects. Yeah, they're so cool.
It makes I tell you, when I watched those early episodes of Discovery and gave up on it, the effects are so ugly and boring and hideous. And these effects are so wonderful. Like, these are just fabulous effects.
Yeah.
Man, Hatch was so good in that.
Yeah, he's great.
I really wished they had made the entire film. That would have been fantastic.
I know.
I mean, look at these camera angles on these ships. Like, this is really creative stuff.
Yeah, this is fantastic stuff. Yeah. Well, they did use a little of some personnel from ILM. So ILM did actually work on some of the effects.
Did they? Okay.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. And Skywalker Sound helped out. So, yeah, very cool. That's Kate Vernon. And she's 64 years old. She just had her birthday a few days ago.
Oh, well, good. Glad she's still around.
Yeah, I'm glad she is too. And this guy's 75. This Martok is 75.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Wow. Look at those. Oh my God, that's so cool. And she's one of the first female captain of the Ajax. That's cool.
Okay, so this is like TOS time frame, right? Because this is right around the time the Klingons get the D7s going.
Right.
And that's the era. That's the era of Kirk, right? So
yeah, well, yes.
Wasn't there the final episode of TOS that with Janice Lester, the crazy lady? She said that she was crazy because she couldn't be a captain because there were no female captains.
Right.
So this kind of messes with that timeline, doesn't it? A little bit, like somehow.
No. You said it right in your description there. She was fucking crazy. She had it in her mind because that they don't have female captains, but really, what happened is she's a fucking nutcase. That's why she's not captain.
Yeah.
Okay, that actually makes sense then.
Yes.
Yeah, that actually makes good sense. Thanks, Gorilla.
Yeah. Oh man, look at that! Oh man, that's the D6 class. Oh my god, they look so awesome.
Well, you know.
Oh, look at Nausicaa. The Nausicans, Rigel 7.
Oh, I love the speech.
Yeah. So there's Gorilla's Cosmic link or to Daniel. And also the Drew says prologue unification. Right, he's got the number there. Yeah, that's what we're referring to. Yeah, 10 minutes long. He says he hadn't heard of it. Yeah, we're going to show it right after this, my friend. Yeah, so thank you for mentioning it, though.
We vote. We will fight.
Archer Arena. Isn't that great? Archer Arena. So you know this is after the events of Enterprise.
Okay, so this is really mixing the timelines because Enterprise was before.
This should be canon. I said it before.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I think it should be.
Archer was before Kirk, so yeah, that makes sense.
Yes, and this is where the peace accords for the founding of the Federation happened was in Archer Arena.
Yeah. You know, they really did their homework putting this together. I gotta say, this really does bring a lot of parts together in Star Trek.
They did really well.
Yeah, they really did their research. You know.
Can you help me with this, baby? Can you help me with this, Suzanne? Can you help me with this? Can't open it.
Hey, do you notice the music, guys?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I need that. I need it open.
I noticed that the numbers are 1650, so this is like that number is like the prelude to the 1701.
Well, this is like the Klingons This is like the Klingons D6 before they had the D7s. This is the 16s before they had the 17s, right?
Yeah. What Vulcans gotta do? See the Vulcans, fuck them.
I love that line.
Kick them out of the Federation. They're not gonna help with fucking defense, like providing weapons and shit. Get the fuck out.
That is hilarious.
Exactly.
I gotta say again, the battle scenes are impressive. Just so good.
Yeah, the battle scenes are just—they're really they're first rate. They really are.
I wonder how much these scenes cost to make.
You know, it's kind of funny. They swear in this reviews, or these fan films, that nobody seems to care. But everybody was talking up a storm when they were swearing in Discovery.
Hey guys, did you know that that Captain Kelvin Garth, that is Garth of Azar in that future episode from the original series where he went to the insane asylum?
The episode is called "Whom Gods Destroy" in season 3, right?
Yeah, Whom Gods Destroy. Yeah.
Well, they raised.
Hey, Jim.
Didn't they raise a couple $1,000,000 to produce this? Like,
oh shoot, yeah. Hey Jim, how's it going?
Yeah, hey Jim. Yeah.
The Cosby link should be right above you.
All right. And there's also something new that StreamYard's doing. I made sure I shared that.
Ooh.
oh, and
nice.
Isn't that awesome? Oh
that's fantastic.
There's the Enterprise.
Yep.
There's the Enterprise.
Yep.
Or the first class in that, or the first ship in that class. Tell me, what is the Enterprise's ship class called in TOS era?
It's the Constitution class. It's the Constitution class, sit down, and I believe there were 12 ships of that Constitution class, like the Enterprise. That is the Enterprise. Can you guys hear me? Is my mic not working?
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, we hear you. We're fine.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Man, that's so good.
Christian Gossett. Very cool.
You know, I have I have an observation that came to mind watching because the Enterprise was just being built in those final scenes near the end of the video. Now we all know that Captain Pike was the first commander of the Enterprise, right?
No, he wasn't.
No, April. April was.
April was the first commander of the
Enterprise. There was 5 captains of the original Enterprise.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I didn't hear about April.
He was mentioned, I think, in the animated series.
Yeah, he was.
He was like that older guy in one of the episodes?
Yes.
Yes.
Was it Robert April, I think was the name, right?
Robert April, yes.
Okay, so how many years did he serve as the captain?
Well, after Archer, right? Because Archer was the original Enterprise NX-01. So when he went into retirement and became an admiral, that's when April took over. So then April was after him.
But
then you had Pike. Then you had Kirk. Well, and then you had Picard.
Wasn't Archer's Enterprise a earlier version? though? It wasn't.
It was.
It wasn't the 17 Constitution class yet.
No. His was an NX-01. It was an experimental. That's why the NX was called it.
That's why I'm trying to figure out the captain line of the actual 1701 Enterprise that Kirk served on.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to place the timeline here. Because I'm thinking, okay, who was the first of the 1701 Enterprise that we know and love from TOS?
Well,
anybody?
I'm getting in here, pulled up right for you.
Okay.
But I know in the pilot we had Pike, right?
Yeah.
In
the pilot we had Pike, right?
And I don't know who would have been on 1701 before Pike. That's why I was asking you guys.
Yeah, it was Captain Robert April, then it was Captain Pike, the Captain James C. Kirk, the Captain Zarlo, the Captain Eustace Hesham. Then it went to Decker. Then it all went back to Kirk.
Okay, so Kirk was third, but Spock mentioned how many years he served under Pike, right? And that was 15 years or something like that?
Yeah. Robert April, sir, was from 2243 to 2251. Then Pike was 2251 to 2264. Then Kirk was 2264 to 2270.
Okay, my question, girl, is how many years after the Enterprise was finished and completed in dry dock there, how many years after that ship entered the war did Kirk come to command it?
So this is the 4 years war. So at that war went from probably 2 years after that, the war probably ended. Probably about 2 years in. So think about 20 years.
Okay, so I was just looking back to the episode Obsession where Kirk was a young lieutenant or something under Captain Garovic, right, in that episode. And I was kind of thinking, I wonder if Kirk was like an ensign or whatever, serving under Garovic on the other ship that was, everybody was killed. But then maybe if you're saying 20 years, that would have made Kirk like 15 or something, right? So it doesn't quite add up, I suppose. But
well, he was still a young ensign, so it kind of makes sense.
I guess he could have been.
He was one of the youngest to ever, pass from the academy. So
yeah, so
yeah, it would make a lot of sense.
Tell me, is there an age limit on how old you have to be a cadet for, or the bare minimum?
Oh, you need to be a cadet in the Starfleet Academy?
Yeah,
what do you think, Gorilla? Do you think 16, maybe 17?
That's the minimum age. Maximum age, I guarantee you, no 120-year-olds get off his ass and get into the academy.
Well, my point is, the reason I'm asking is if you're doing this math, then you're trying to calculate how old Kirk was, then either Starfleet's recruitment lots were a lot more loose to let kids join at 14 or 15, or this fan film messes up with the timeline a little bit and makes it a little more loosely to the timeline.
Hey, you learned this pretty fast in life, Dad. If you're sleeping with the higher ranks, there you'll move up the ranks a lot faster.
Okay.
Well, the thing is, I was trying to put the puzzle together, and I was thinking, well, Kirk was a young ensign or whatever on the Farragut, right? The USS Farragut, where that creature attacked and killed his captain and what did it, like 200 people or something? I forget.
Thanks, Jim, for that.
So I'm trying to put it together, and I'm thinking, the timeline is, give or take 5 years, that might actually work, because I could see him on the Farragut, like, maybe his late teens, around 20 years old, something. So, because we know when he was commanding the Enterprise on TOS, he was like around 35 or something, right? Like mid 30s.
Yeah.
So I was just trying to put it together, because it kind of does make sense. I mean, you might have to stretch, the years a little tiny bit, but it does kind of fit together not too badly.
Well, the way that I see it, okay, this is the way I saw it. I'm looking at Prelude to Axanar, and then when they did actual Axanar battle in another stream, I filled it in the timeline. I said this is after Archer's time with the Enterprise. So basically, the events of Star Trek Enterprise series. Then you've got this, which you can throw in Axanar and the 4 Years War in between Enterprise and TOS, and then you can go right to TOS, to the cage. So yeah.
I want to say welcome to FKHC 2005. He says hail.
Oh, hail.
And he is 69 who is captain. Oh, wait, that's Sulu.
Hey there.
But Jim here says Constitution class. Yeah. But Jim here said Constitution class was a heavy cruiser. Yep. And
he did say that. And then, go ahead, girl.
He gives the on-screen ranks or numbers of the captains versus I think the information I got was some of the beta canon.
Yes. Yeah, so basically everything he had listed there. Okay, so guys,
Mikey, I would say this. Well, I know why the Federation won the 4 Years War. It had Klingons in it disguised as humans.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, I mean they looked weird, didn't they, back then?
That's that. Okay, if I got to pick a bone with Axanar, that's the big one.
Yeah, sure.
Because this is set around, before we have the 17, Constitution class, right?
Yeah, before the
when it starts. Okay,
yes.
well, you look. Remember in TOS, the Klingons didn't have ridges on their forehead.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing. It's like they took a next generation Klingon forehead look for Richard Hatch, when that shouldn't have happened until years later, right?
Well, if you look at that episode of the season 4 of Enterprise, though, that's kind of explained. Not all Klingons were affected by that. That was a small population that we just happened to be seeing the same Klingons over and over again.
Oh,
yeah, Gorilla, was it like a genetic disorder that it affected some Klingons but not all of them?
Yes, how it spread throughout the Empire there was that all the Klingons used to have ridges, but they tried mixing they got some of the DNA from the augments from the genetic wars, and what happened is one of the people who was experimenting with it had some kind of like space flu or whatever, and it mixed with that augmented DNA, and it became contagious and it spread around. So these Klingons became stronger, but the side effect was they lost their ridges.
Yeah, and I think that Worf. Yeah, right. And I think that Worf said it best in Trials and Tribulations from DS9 when he said we don't like to talk about it, because they thought that the Klingons from the Trouble with Tribbles from the TOS episode thought that they looked like more human than they were supposed to, and then they were trying, and of course O'Brien and then we're trying to figure out, well, wait a second, here's Klingons from Kirk's time, but then now we're looking at Worf, who's got more of the ridges and all this stuff from this time, and like, how'd that happen? And he says, well, we don't talk about it. It's a mystery.
Yeah, but it's like, that's a brilliant way to just gotta brush it off, But but the way it's explained in Enterprise is like, okay.
Well, that's what Tim said. He said they should never have done that. Enterprise. Yes, I agree. They should have never done that, explaining the ridges. That was a big mistake. That should have just remained a mystery. But
it is what it is.
All right, so Mikey, sorry for the story, but you probably weren't gonna say, all right, we're gonna do unification. You want to talk about this, or you want to watch it? Because
no, let's go ahead and watch it, because it's only about 10 minutes long. So let's just kind of let it play, and then when it's done, then we'll talk about it.
So I'm guessing we've kind of talked everything about Axanar. Then we're
because we've seen it so many times, PvP.
Yeah, so I just want to say, if we're going to wrap up Axanar, and then we don't have to discuss it later,
sure.
Because I think we pretty well covered everything, all the major things we were thinking about, right?
Even Tim says some questions are best left unanswered. I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So, basically, we all agree that the special effects are fabulous. We all agree, Tony Todd and Richard Hatch are awesome.
And Gary Graham, and Hertzler, and Vernon, and Peters. All great actors.
Everybody in it is really solid, and the timeline, even though it might be a little bit shaky here and there, it's actually pretty damn good. I think they really did a pretty good job of their homework on this, right?
I still think it's solid. There might be a few tweaks, but I think both Gorilla, you, me, Sci-Fi Sif Dan, I think we all agree that it's a great product, and it should be canon. It should be there.
Well,
it should be a part of the continuing universe.
Yeah, it's canon to me.
Oh, it is to me. I gave it an A++. I love that. I love it.
I don't need no studio clown to tell me what's canon and what's not canon. Let's put it this way. I was watching Star Trek TOS before these guys were alive.
Okay, even before I was in my mom's womb.
All due respect, I think I know a little bit more about the show than a lot of these executive clowns do. Okay, so,
you do. You do to an extent. Yes, you do, PvP. Okay, so we all agree that it's an A+ material. All right, Sif Dan, you want to go ahead and play Unification, and just play it out, and then we'll talk about it too. So go ahead.
Sounds good.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna start the Unification video in 3, 2, 1.
Okay. What a great quote.
Well, that's from is that what movie is that from? Is that from Wrath of Khan?
I think so. Well, let's watch this. This is good. So there's Gary Mitchell.
It's so cool.
Yeah. There's him with his gravesite. Yeah. Oh, this is awesome.
And that's the chick from the cage.
Yeah. And there's the destroyed. Yeah, and then there's the destroyed Enterprise D on Viridian 3, which has still brought all the parts back from it. So, yeah, this is great. Oh, I love this.
And some of it I think was of Kirk was CGI, but there was an actual real actor that played young Kirk partway through the film.
Right.
Because there's actually a video on YouTube where they're doing his makeup and his hair, which is quite interesting.
Yeah.
And the actor did look a lot like young Shatner.
They did.
Tell me, was it his son?
Oh no! This was another actor. I can't remember his name, but no. I still find this. I just think this is amazing what they've done.
Yeah.
Nice music too. Oh, the music
That's good.
The music is really good. That's why I didn't even think about the lack of dialogue the first time I watched it, because the music was so damn good.
Yeah.
And then we get what's her name? The second
Robin. Yeah, we get Robin Curtis.
Robin Curtis from Star Trek 3, right?
Yeah.
And then of course that's Spock's son, because she had the Pon farr with young Spock on the planet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, we get to see Spock's son.
Yeah. And FKHC 2005 says some questions are left best unanswered, and it's canon to be starring William Cavern.
I just, man, I'm getting choked up again.
And I know Star Trek species right there. Or have you guys seen that species before in Star Trek?
No, that's the one thing that puzzles me. I'm not familiar with this species at all.
I'd have to get the name of the species, but I think they might have been seen before.
No, he's in the Twilight Corridor between Earth, Heaven, and the Netherworld. That's how I interpret it anyway.
I've heard some people say like this is Kirk in the afterlife after he was killed in, what was it, Generations?
Yes.
I've heard that theory. I don't know how valid it is, but yeah, this is the actor. That's not Shatner. That's another actor, but man, did they make him look good.
Yeah. I put in a copy of the IMDb information, which shows his name is Sam Witwer.
That's the guy.
Yeah. So there, I put it in my right here. This is where you can go for all the information about it. And Carlos Baena, 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 was the one who directed it. So
is it not incredible how much that actor looked like a young Shatner though? Like,
well, he was in that horror series. Well, I'll tell you after this, but he was in a horror series.
Yeah, let's just be quiet and watch the rest, because this is
sure.
Good.
It's getting me starting William Cameron. Yeah.
Oh boy.
There he is. Yeah. Now the actor that plays Spock is Lawrence Selleck. So of course it's not actually Nimoy, but just like you said with Sam, Lawrence came as close to looking like an older Spock.
I thought Spock was CGI'd in this.
No, it's a real guy. It's Lawrence Selleck. He's Tom Selleck's son, and they did him up in the makeup. So, yeah, that's Lawrence Selleck. That's not the real Nimoy, obviously.
Can you put that link in the private chat? I'd like to read up on that.
Yeah, I did. It's in the. It's from the information there, GDP.
Okay, because I didn't realize. I thought they just like CGI'd Nimoy.
No, it's an actual actor. So
that's unreal.
Yeah, I'll send this to you guys again, and I put it in the private chat. So that's the IMDb information on this entire show.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's very cool though.
This is so damn good.
Yeah. Yeah, we as fans are so blessed and lucky to have these fan films. We really are. There it is, 765-874. Unification. Yeah. That's so cool. And that's for Leonard. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so awesome.
And
there's like 2 minutes. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine, Dan. There's like 2 minutes of credits and stuff, but that's cool.
All right.
Yeah, Tim says the fans make better Star Trek movies as well. Yeah,
exactly.
And I was going to comment this in the chat, but I'll just go ahead and say it. That scene or this whole thing basically gives the state of what Star Trek fandom and the fans are right now. Kirk represents the Star Trek fans, and Spock represents the old Star Trek lore and movies, and where older Star Trek fans and the older fandom are finally saying, you know what? Star Trek and the older movies, you were nice to us. You were nice to us.
So Lockdown in is here. Hail Lockdown in. He says, how goes it? And he says, ooh, watch party. Yes, I hope you got to see it, Lockdown, and we had the Cosby link there. It's most graciously donated by Mr. Sifdan. So thank you, Sifdan, for doing that for us. That was
all right.
Yeah, so guys, I mean, this is basically A material, I think, to me. As much as Axanar was, I think this definitely was too.
Yes, and I would say this is an excellent send-off in my metaphor between Spock and Kirk as the Star Trek state of the franchise and the fans. It stands because that's how I see that video or that video on how the older fans or Star Trek fans in general feel about the older Star Trek, and they have to let it go. And now the newer Trek is not Star Trek at all.
Right. Some of these that you and I have talked about before, Dan, both Star Trek and Star Wars fan films, most of the time they are using their own funds, and sometimes they can't always get Patreon people to help. As far as like fundage. Most of the time they're doing it by themselves. But what I really enjoy about fan films is the fact that you got the love, the support, and then if they do get some financial help, that's great. That's even better. But they have the compassion for this. I mean, they love their franchises, respectively. And I really wish, there's so many good writers that take it upon themselves to create this, for the fan film. And I really wish that Paramount, in the way of Star Trek, and I wish that Lucasfilm, or Disney, if you want to call them still Disney, in their regard, I wish they would acknowledge these writers and say, look, put this out for us, do this. You guys seem to have more you're more attuned to knowing what you're supposed to show. Make it your Star Trek, or make it your Star Wars.
I think what the problem is, Mikey, the powers that be at Paramount, they don't care about the legacy of Star Trek.
I know.
They don't care about what the fans love. They don't care about, remember that Star Trek Day like a year ago where Paramount...
And a hello, Ancient One. Yeah, just want to say hello to him.
Remember they had the Paramount channel or whatever where they had Star Trek Day? There was no Kirk in it. Like, Kirk wasn't even on the thumbnail. I think the only TOS person that was featured was Uhura, because she was, a woman of color, right?
Yeah.
All the rest of it was like Discovery and, Picard, and that was the Drek they were featuring, in the front of the thumbnail. I was like, I think it's pretty common thought among many of us original fans that, modern day Paramount just wants to erase the legacy of real Star Trek. Because look at the writing. Look at the writing and the stuff they cranked out over the last number of years.
Yeah.
It's not, there's no quality there. There's no quality there at all.
Yeah, so Sifdan and I really talked about it.
No, but if I may finish my thought.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The reason they don't acknowledge the great writers putting out some of the fan film stuff and how good the quality of these stories that we just watched, these videos, is because they actively don't want the legacy of good Star Trek. They are dismantling it. Look at what they've done to Doctor Who, for instance, right?
Yeah.
And look what they've done to Star Wars. Like, Sithdan knows what they've done to Star Wars.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, both Sifdan and I, we discussed in a previous stream, we talked about 4 different types of fans. We talked about fans that were hardcore. Yeah. And you should watch it, PvP. If Sifdan still has the link to it, it's available. It's out there.
You want to post the link on the private, then sure.
Yeah, okay. But well, you know what? I'll send it to you, PvP, so you can watch it yourself.
Send it on my Facebook. That would be good.
Yeah, I will, definitely. But what we talked about was 4 different types of fans. We said there's the hardcore fans that really believe in the product. They really believe in their respective franchises. There are classic fans that in some ways they like to be hardcore, but in other ways they're more relegated to what they know. They read the books, they do things like that, the novels. They think they should be canon, but they're not. There is the casual fans who, I guess, they only just kind of like follow certain movies or certain series and things like that, and they're not really big into that. And then both Sifdan and I figured out for Star Wars fans, there's the Disney ones who, just said, oh, frick it, give it to Abrams, he'll screw everything over. So he did. And then there's the Paramount people who said, oh, hey, Abrams can do an alternate Kelvin timeline shit. And then he messed that up. So those are those kind of fans that like that kind of stuff. And I'm like, oh, that's please. That just hurts my heart. that just kills my soul. You
see, that final category of people that like love worship like Discovery and Mikey Spock and all that horror show.
Of course.
I would never call them fans, because they're not fans. To me, they probably none of them have ever seen TOS. They've never seen Next Generation. They've never seen Deep Space Nine. They probably have not seen Enterprise. I almost forgot Voyager, even though that's my least favorite series. Because I can't stand Janeway, and it's not because I'm sexist. It's just like I don't like the actor. But I don't consider them to be fans because they know nothing about the legacy. They know nothing about the franchise. They know diddly squat, and they just go in thinking, "Oh, this is real. Oh, this is what Star Trek is. Oh, wow, I didn't know." And then they go, "Wow, this is really great." And they're like, "Oh," and you want to slap yourself in the head and think,
exactly.
These people think this is good.
Yeah, okay, PvP. Let's guys, let's go ahead quickly catch up on the chat. So Tim says it was canon to me, starring William Conrad. Okay, that's going back a ways. Here's the IMDb link that I posted in the chat there, and also in private, so you guys can look back at the whole background information story of how the 768-874 unification was created. It was only about a year old. Black Dannon says, "Hail, how goes it?" He also said, "Ooh, watch party." And here's Ancient One. He says, "Hello, Mikey Sees 4, Gorilla, Sci-Fi, Sifdan, PvP, Lockdown, and everyone in the live chat. And hello, Fruitcakes. Hello, Sir Lemon Pie. Welcome."
Hey, Scooby. And hey, Ancient One.
Hey,
and Dan said it's pride and arrogance because the corporations and back writers and hack writers, I'm sorry, that think they can do better plus the money. Absolutely, Dan. I totally agree with you there. Black Dan says, "Thanks, Ancient One." Tim says, "Sadly, we got to wait until Shatner meets up with Nimoy again to see how they deal with Kirk." Well, if you can come up with a fan film yourself for that, Tim, I'm willing to watch it. I'm totally ready for that. And there's like that and doing some arm wrestling or something. Lemon says, "Hi, Mike, Gorilla, PvP, Sifdan." That's the first time you called me Mike, Sir Lemon. I'm Mikey to you, I thought, but okay, that's all right. I'm cool with that. Lemon says, "Hello, Ancient One," and Lacdan, and of course, Ancient One says, "Hello to you too, Lemon Pie." Lockdown says, "Don't leave out Babylon 5. Okay, I won't leave that out. And then Ancient One says, "And yes, Mikey, LOL, in some crazed altered timeline, LOL, we bear witness, LOL, of the development team of the Battletoads NES game where they go more than just feral." Okay, all right. And they go so crazy, they undergo the great transformation where they became a terrifying feral parody version of the Battletoads themselves. Oh my gosh, wow. That does go quite a bit of ways back there, Ancient One. But yeah, thank you. So
all right,
we're caught up on that.
All right, and just to clarify a little, you gave my factions video roughly the same description, but I'll just do a little more refinement. For the classical fans of the Star Trek franchise, Mikey, you got mostly right, but sad, I want to go a little more detail. Classical fans, I would describe, they don't delve all the way down into the Star Trek lore. They watch the TV shows, or they watch all the movies before 2005 and all that.
Yeah,
but they don't read any comic books or any of that. They're mainly just like the media type of Star Trek fans, like from the TV shows.
Yeah, that's
or
the casual. Right, that's the casual fan. If you were classical, that's probably where you said they would read the comics or read books or like, yeah.
To get actually, that's the definition of a classical fan is someone that watches all the TV shows or their own TV show, their own era, and they watch all the movies, and they do dive deep into the Star Trek lore, but it's not their main focus or hobby. That's what the hardcore fans are. They dive into the nitty gritty of Star Trek, the universe, the lore, and all that, and whatever TV show or fandom of that faction of the fandom they're in. They dive headfirst into that, down the rabbit hole so damn far that they basically live and breathe Star Trek, their own culture and philosophy. Classical fans, they don't do that. They do dive into it, but not as much as hardcore fans do.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like I started watching it in 1969 when TOS went into syndication in September of that year, right? Because we had one TV station back then when I was a kid, and they only showed hit shows. They didn't show Star Trek because Star Trek was not a hit. It was, doing poorly in the ratings, so they never showed it. So I started watching it in, 1969, September of that year. And so I'm obviously an old school fan. I mean, if that's the category, I'm definitely old school. I'm one of the original generation of fans as well, because I started watching it within 3 or 4 years of its beginnings. So I would classify myself as an original and an old school fan. I guess with Dan's definition, I would probably fall into the classic category, because I've probably seen most of the episodes and all of the movies, but I'm not a big reader, right? I don't read a lot. So
Right.
I haven't spent 100 hours reading all the novels that came out. And sure, I've read some. I used to have a bunch of Star Trek magazines, and I'd read the articles. So I'd read that stuff. And if there was an interesting article I found on the internet, sure, I'd read that stuff. But I didn't spend hundreds of hours, reading every single novel that they wrote about Star Trek, right? So
right.
So yeah.
So Dan, what was your final analysis? Well, let's go with yourself, because I know you said that you're a huge Star Wars fan, but you're a casual Star Trek fan. So are you more of a classical fan of Star Trek?
Well, I did sort of clarify that on my stream with you, Mikey.
Yes.
I am of the Star Trek casual fan Star Trek classical fan faction, but
yes.
that's not my main area of expertise. There is overlap on where my faction lies, but at my heart, I'm a classical Trek fan. But I do overlap with the casual fan and the hardcore faction of Star Trek. I delve into both of those factions. See, but if you want to press me on which faction I am, I'm a classical Star Trek fan through and through.
Interesting.
Yeah, which is what I determined myself, right? So you and I pretty much follow along the same vein, especially with Star Wars, because I know you're more of a hardcore fan of Star Wars than I am. But I mean, like I have read some of these Star Wars novels, as well as seen all the movies. I mean, all 9 of them, and I've seen the 2 short stories. That's what I call them, just kind of short stories. And then and I've seen both of the Clone Wars animated series, which are supposed to, they're Clone War movies, actually, they call them. They're animated movies, but they're 2-hour movies, which are supposed to fill a space between the first prequels and then into the main ones, the 4, 5, and 6. And I know the best one of those 2 is obviously Tartakovsky, this guy who created Samurai Jack, and he put up like 40 segments of like 5 minutes each, molded it into a 2-hour film, and Lucas himself watched it and said, yes, I want that to be used. So he put that one right in between episodes 2 and 3, and it's a perfect filler. I mean, if you watch the end all the way through Attack of the Clones, you watch the filler Clone Wars from Tartakovsky, and then you get right to the beginning of Revenge of the Sith, the beginning of that in episode 3. So yeah, I mean, it's great. I love it.
All right. So PvP, what were you trying to say before we cut you off?
Yeah, I just thought Mikey's had an interesting train of thought, so I thought I'd just let him ramble along there.
We all do that. Come on.
Oh, hey, do I have to remind you guys again? I have a horse that's called Tangent. Because I ride off on Tangent repeatedly every week, so
Gorilla, would you agree?
I think Gorilla might be napping by now.
Gorilla, don't be sleeping. No, please don't do that. Don't do that on my stream. Come on.
He's a hard working gorilla, and he gets tired.
He's a hard working man. Yeah, I did tell him we were only going to do this for about like an hour and a half, because Suzanne and I, we've got a visitor flying in tomorrow. We're going to go visit her.
An hour and a half? You told me an hour.
Well, we're drifting to about an hour and a half. I mean, we're already 1 hour 10 into it.
Hey, you told me like 2 hours, but we're like an hour and 10, so we're still good.
We're still good. We only got like about 20 more minutes there, Gorilla.
Yeah, I just wanted to because Dan was going to ask what I was thinking. I found it interesting you described yourself, Dan, as a classic Star Trek fan. But I remember when I asked you if you'd seen much of TOS, you said you hadn't watched a lot of it. So my question is, how much of the TV episodes of the different Star Trek series have you actually viewed over the years?
I've seen the first 2 seasons of The Next Generation. I've seen about most of DS9, all of Voyager, and all of Star Trek Enterprise, but I forgot most of it.
Okay. Once again, I would really recommend going back to the roots and checking out the 3 seasons of TOS, because I think actually that is a lot of the best Star Trek, because Shatner is great as Kirk, and Nimoy as Spock is. I think Nimoy's Mr. Spock is probably my favorite character of all time of any TV show I've ever seen. Nimoy created such a great character with Spock. He played him so well. And then the writers got into it too, feeding him great dialogue in a lot of the episodes. And the weird thing was too, Dan, like TOS went from 1966 to 1969, right? It was the 60s show. Back in the 60s, it was episodic television. You had a different story every week. It was totally different. There was very little continuity, right? We didn't get long character arcs like we do in a lot of shows now, right? Which I don't mind at all. That can be quite awesome. But TOS, it was back in the era when it was a weekly show, and it, basically you had a whole new scenario every week. But in spite of that, they had a good enough producer in the first 2 seasons with Gene Alcoon, which was he contributed a lot to that show that people don't even realize. And then you had a gamut of fabulous writers, because a lot of the writers in the first 2 seasons were actually published novelists that had written serious science fiction, right? And, book form science fiction, like they knew their stuff, right? So that helped a lot. And the rest of the ensemble cast was excellent. Scotty O'Hara, Sulu, that was all great stuff. And the special effects for 1966 were probably state of the art back then. It was a really solid show, and I really, I mean, it's up to you, of course, but I would urge you to check out. So something came to mind just now, Mikey. And Gorilla and Dan. Would you guys be open to doing maybe a occasional, like maybe once every couple of weeks, watch party of a TOS episode?
I'm up for it if you are, Gorilla.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, I'm not saying. Go ahead, Dan.
If you're talking about a watch party type of live stream, then yes. If you're talking about a review type of watch party where you have to watch the episode previously, I could do that, but I'd rather do the watch party option for TOS if you're open to that.
I think it might be fun to do watch parties of the original series. And I'm not saying we have to do every episode, because
because there's 79 episodes, I
just want to finish. Like any show, it has its great episodes that are magnificent, and it has its crap episodes. Not too many, but there's a handful that we don't ever want to look at, right? So I would say pick the best ones. Like, say pick a handful, like 20 or 30 of the best ones, because there's a lot of really good Star Trek episodes. And just do we could do like one episode a week or one episode every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And just watch it. And then, at the end, we could give our ratings and whatnot. That'd be a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah. But the one I don't want us to get is Spock's brain, because unless Gorilla wants to grab a couple of nice liqueurs and get himself drunk every time brain, what his brain is said, or the word brain itself is said, I don't think that would be preferable. And I'm not really into the hippie one either.
Oh God, no!
Yeah, we don't want that without a Napier. Come on, that would be bad. We don't want to do that. No.
Well, hey, the worst episode of TOS, in my opinion, Mikey.
Yeah,
The Children Shall Lead.
Oh God, no. Okay, yeah. Melvin Belli. Okay, yeah.
Oh,
no,
it's horrible. It's one of
no,
the worst.
yeah.
I hate that episode. Yeah,
Well,
but the thing
over
is,
time, I agree. Yeah.
the thing is, there's like 5 or 6 really bad episodes out of 79,
Oh
right?
yeah.
It's not too bad, and I'd
Well,
say there's probably at least 10, 15, 20 that are fantastic episodes, right?
Oh yeah. Well, the one I just talked about on Tuesday. Tomorrow is yesterday with Carpenter. I mean, like, yes.
Oh, that's a good
going back in time. Yes,
that's a very good one. Yes, that's a
yeah.
very
I
good
love that one, and we could always start. And we could always start Galileo 7 with Spock taking command. We could do that. That's a good one.
Well, yeah, but some of the creatures are maybe not quite up to snuff. I want to show Dan some really good stuff up front that'll get him into the show, right?
Well, we'll talk about it.
Because I gotta say that the creatures kind of took me out of that episode, even though it's a very good episode, right?
Sure.
But hey, you know what I could,
Dan. Spock's brain is the best. No,
well,
he's kidding.
It's the best drinking game, though. The best drinking
game.
Game.
Absolutely. Like I said, if Gorilla wants to do a special one night,
no. PvP, I got to fact check you on that. Spock's brain is not the best drinking game. It may be the best drinking game for Star Trek, but the best drinking game is always the annual State of the Union.
Well, you know
Which
what?
One again, Gorilla?
The annual State of the Union.
Oh, jeez. Oh, no.
You know what? Well, here in Canada, the best drinking game on Monday night was watching the election results.
Oh, God, yeah. We were all drinking after that.
Oh, man. See, the sad thing was I knew I had to work the next day, so I couldn't get totally hammered in my despair at that election result, but oh, well.
Yeah.
Oh, I could get completely hammered and still go to work the next day.
But do you have to talk on the phone to clients?
No, but I got to act like I'm completely sober to my supervisor.
Yeah, but the thing is, I can't fake it because if I sound like this when I'm, hey there, how you doing? If I sound like that on the phone, I'm going to lose my job, right? So.
Yeah. And you want to answer this, Gorilla? What's
no, not really.
Which way does Gorilla swing? Well, I assume Gorilla swings on a vine, right? Don't you, Gorilla?
I thought so.
Like Tarzan.
This question doesn't even make fucking sense.
Banana tree. Watch out for that tree.
Oh, geez.
Oh my God. I think with that, guys, let's go ahead and wrap this up like a teen at prom night, or who had a broken condom somewhere. I don't know.
You totally butchered to direct that.
Oh well, fuck. Then you say it.
All right, guys, let's wrap this up like a kid on prom night.
A kid on prom night. Okay. So first of all, we had Resolute Germ come into the chat. Thank you, Germ, for being here as part of Gorilla's stream. And also, Sifdan, thank you again for your wonderful contribution tonight for the JAS showings of Prelude to Axanar and Unification 765874, which is, both of them are awesome. And I know we enjoyed them. Also, of course, thank you, Sifdan, for joining the panel tonight. Gorilla, also, thank you, brother. And I appreciate all your help getting us all set up for simulcast. And, of course, one of our best brothers, PvP, for helping us out as well. Also, there I am, and then with the Cosby link. And then there's Jim. Thanks, Jim, for coming by. We appreciate you being here. Make sure you go to his channel and check out his fan films and things that he does there. This is also, if you're new to streaming PvP and you're looking to level up, check out StreamYard to get a $10 discount. There's the link is right there for everybody. Tim has Tim FKHC 2005 has some good content there. What does he usually have, Gorilla? What does Tim usually have again? Because I don't get there too often. So
Tim has a couple videos on his channel. It wasn't too many there, but there's a couple out there. Make sure to check them out.
Yeah. And of course, here's that link to IMDb if you would like the information tonight, background about both not only Prelude to Axanar, but also to which was 2014 to Unification, which was 2024. So it's all there for you folks. Also, Lac Dannon. I know Lac Dannon. He is a great helper to our channels. He's a great supporter. He's usually there. He's been there for Gorilla. He's been there for Sifdan. He's been there for me. He's been there for Charlotte Nightstar the Werewolf. Lac Dannon, you're awesome. So appreciate you being here. Ancient One. Ancient One always goes feral. But he's a great guy, and he also offers us virtual pizza. Except I didn't see any tonight, so Ancient One, you owe me for next time. And then Lemon Pie, who is a great, not only a moderator to a lot of other channels, but to Mikey Seuss 4, he and Connie are two of our most awesome managing moderators, along with my beautiful wife, Suzanne. So make sure you say hello to him. Make sure that you treat him well, because he's a good guy. And finally, the Drew 24. Dan, you want to tell us more about Drew 24 again one more time?
Yes, the Drew does arm wrestling videos. He hasn't done any recent videos, but if you're interested in the arm wrestling videos, go and check out his channel. And that's all I have to say about him, as far as I know.
Oh, okay, cool. And let's see. Yep, and let's see, where did I leave off? Okay, there we go. And then Dan said, hey, I say Gorilla is similar to me, roughly 20% casual, not casual. Come on, learn how to spell there, Dan. I have you up here for a reason, for your intelligence. Come on. 30 hardcore, and the rest is classical fan. Well, that could be Gorilla. And Ancient One says, yep, the crazy pizza. Yep, we love it. Okay.
Well, Mike, I would say this. Spelling is not my strong suit, okay? And I bet it's not Gorilla's either.
It's all right. I already forgave you. Stop. Okay? I already forgave you. It's no big deal. All right, PvP, promote yourself, my friend.
Well, we're not talking about drummers tonight like we originally planned, right?
We will next time, PvP. Cool. I am sorry. I got a lot going on this week. I apologize.
But actually, that worked out because I have the last 5 days in my life have been a bit of a nightmare, to be honest. So,
for all of us,
I'm good with that. Yeah. It's been a rough patch lately. It really has, guys? For a lot of us. So I'm thinking maybe next week sometime we could maybe do a drummer's special.
We can do that next Wednesday if you want, a week from today.
Okay, you know what I'm thinking though would be a lot of fun. Like I mentioned, would be to watch like a TOS episode once a week or something, just so we can make Dan a hardcore fan.
Yeah, and Dan can Dan's able to get us those secretive TOS episodes so that he can show them up there. We can watch it and comment and everything. So
So what I'm probably going to do is I'll send you like Mikey up. I'll send it to your Facebook. I'll pick out like 20 or 30 of the that are the top episodes because there are a lot of really good ones, right? Like there's some.
Well, you don't have to send me 20. Okay. If you want to go with one of your favorite episodes, because I know I have a few from season 1. So if you want to go with one of your favorite ones, you can send that to me.
The thing is, though, I don't want, I would not start with City on the Edge of Forever, right?
No, you don't want to do that. Yeah, you don't want to start right with that. Right
you know what I'm thinking? I want to start with earlier season 1 because you have to get to know the characters for the show to make sense, right?
Right.
Yeah, I'm not going to show like a season 3 episode where Dan's going to go, who the fuck are these people or whatever, right? So I'm going to pick out some of the early. Actually, what do you think about what's that one?
Well, here's a couple that Dan was suggesting.
Oh, how about say The Naked Time or something like that? That's early, right?
Oh, The Naked Time is a good one. Sure. PvP. Nightmare sounds like a good movie idea. Where can I get tickets to see it? Okay. No, Balance of Terror is a good one with Mark Leonard. That is definitely like the first introduction to the Romulan race.
Have you seen that one, Dan?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, he has. And The Cage is a good one too.
You've seen The Cage too, then? Okay.
Yeah,
I have mixed feelings about The Cage. It's good, but it's not my favorite.
Right.
Yeah, and also Mud's Women, or whichever episode that is.
Oh, I'm not a fan of Mud's Women.
Yeah, not Mud's Women, but if you do iMud, I would be very happy if you do iMud.
Well, you know, the weird. I'm one of these really weird fans of TOS that doesn't really like Harry Mudd at all.
Oh, I know, but I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna turn you around, PvP. Okay, I'm gonna turn you around to hardcore Fit and Mud.
I gotta say though, that's the second season of Harry, right? That
it is. Yes, it is. When we get into the second season, I want to do iMud.
I actually don't mind that episode because I look at it as it's like Trouble with Tribbles. It's a comedy episode, basically, right?
Right. And so of course, Sir Lemon says Mud's Women is meh. Yeah,
I agree. I think it's
we would know. You would know, Sir Lemon. Okay. All right, let's go to Sifdan. Sifdan, what do you got coming up, my friend? Go ahead and promote yourself.
To all my panel members and to the chatters that know me or don't know me, Sci-Fi Sifdan, you should character at sci-fi TV shows or movies. I do my Dark Matter TV show watch parties on Wednesdays, usually at 5:30 Pacific time. If any of you are interested in that show, go and tune in at 5:30 Wednesday nights. And I do my live streams usually on Saturdays between 2 and 4 p.m. Pacific time. I try to upload a new video on my main channel towards the end of the previous week, at the beginning of next week. And I do cross-stream ideas with a few of my community members if they will allow it. Usually they do, like Gorilla Censored Thoughts and Resolute Germ. And this time around, if it is the one I'm thinking about, Mike Asus 4, he was gracious enough to do a cross-stream option this time around. And let's see. I do have a secondary channel called Old War Sorcerer Nan. On that one, I cover Japanese anime. Currently, we're doing the Overlord Japanese anime. It's a good anime. If any of you are dark fantasy with adult themes, check that out. We do the watch parties on Fridays, usually at 8 p.m. Pacific time, after Girls Walton streams. And that's about it. I have about my channel, so I'll turn it over to Gorilla before he falls asleep completely, unless he is asleep already.
The only thing that puts me to sleep is hearing that joke over and over again.
Oh, by the way, Sifdan, the one with Apollo, played by Michael Forrest, brilliantly, and when he comes back in the very first episode of Star Trek Continues, that episode in TOS is called "Who Mourns for Adonai," and it's a very, very good episode. So make sure we check it out. Yeah,
isn't it like Adonis or?
No. It's in Greek. It's pronounced Adonai. That is
but that's not the way most people pronounce it.
I know. They're just all.
You know
I call it laziness, okay?
But the amazing thing I want to tell Dan is Michael Forrest is still alive.
Yeah, he is still breathing. Yeah,
he's like 97 or something now, but he's still.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right, Gorilla, your turn, my brother. Go ahead and promote yourself. Let us know what's coming up.
All righty. Tomorrow we should have the first episode of Night Court, but sadly we probably won't have a song for that one. Because Sudo won't let me download it unless I pay for it. So
that's what you were arguing about before, right? Really?
Hey, girl, we could do dum dun 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 dun. We could do the song for you, buddy.
Oh, sure, we could do that.
Then on there'll be no Walton's Friday. Not sure about Terminator 4 on Sunday there. Then on Tuesday, we'll have our cigar lounge.
All right, cool. Yeah. So Gorilla and so if you are able to do Terminator, we can definitely go with Terminator Salvation. That would probably be the next one in line. So
yes, it is.
Yeah. So we go with that one. Okay, cool. All right. Let's see. As for me, I'm sorry. Go ahead, PvP.
I'm just going to quickly say I've heard Terminator Salvation. You will not be saved watching Salvation.
Yeah, probably not. But Christian Bale still cool, and I really do like the what you would call them, like Mad Max type of cycles that they yeah, and I mean it's good stuff. It really is. And I talked with a friend about it who served over in Afghanistan. He said, "Gosh, if I had some of those vehicles they used in Salvation, we could have easily won." So I mean, this is from a military friend of mine. So I'm like, okay,
it's a bit nuts when a military guy says we could use some of those Hollywood vehicles to win an actual war, right?
Absolutely. Which why I thought it was kind of funny he said that. But hey, he knows what he's doing. He fought over there a couple times. He did.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah. So, and he came back alive. So
well, he must have known
my brother there. Yeah, to my brother there, Mr. Bonaire, and some other people I knew. I'm glad he made it back. Okay. As for me, let's see. Tomorrow, no A-Team. I decided to move it up to Friday afternoon at 1. I'm sorry to say that I know Gorilla's going to be on the road. So, Gorilla, please have a safe trip. I also know that our brother Larry is going to be on the road too. So, please make sure he has a good, safe trip. I did all my prayers earlier today. I wanted to cover everything and make sure to cover everyone. Make sure they all have a safe trip, Lord. Hope they do. But on Friday, I will do in the after I get back from, we're gonna go. I'm gonna go get my ID, and then after I get my Canadian ID, and we go see Thunderbolts, which looks really awesome. When I get back, then whatever time I'm available when I get home, you folks will still get my 2-episode review of the A-Team, and I've got season 3 still covering. Saturday, I hope to join. Since we did this JAS live today, and thank you, we've got 8 people still watching, so that is totally awesome. And I appreciate all the likes as well. And thank you for sponsoring both Gorilla and Sifdan in their respective channels for simulcast tonight. So it turned out well. Also, I wanted to say that I like helping Sifdan on his afternoon shows he does from like 2 to 4 p.m., which is about 5 to 7 p.m. my time. And this weekend, Charlotte Nightstar the Werewolf is doing a special podcast with Little Movie Perp. And Little Movie Perp is a cool guy. So she's going to do a podcast. Sifdan, you're invited. I'm invited. PvP's invited. Everybody wants to come. That'll be around, the first one will be around 3 o'clock Eastern time. And then she'll have a live stream, I hope, right around after 4:05 p.m. Eastern. So it'll be right around those times. And I think she's doing something on Sunday as well. So make sure you check her out, and make sure you check us out here at Mikey Sue's 4. And then, of course, everything will go back to normal on Monday with the 2 episodes I do of Red Dwarf. So, all right. So with that, I want to thank everybody here for being here. I hope that I mentioned everybody that came into everybody's 3 different streams. If I missed anyone, God forbid, please forgive me. I got a lot going on this week. I know tomorrow we're going to go visit a friend who is a friend to all of us, Travel with Lisa MH. She's coming over from England, and we're going to meet her tomorrow and hang out. And maybe we'll get a chance to shoot some live streaming, some video, and that'll be a lot of fun. And then, like I said, Friday, I've got my ID card to get for Canada. I've been waiting so long, and finally I got this opportunity to get it. And then we'll see Thunderbolts, and then whatever else happens from there. 10 people, that is fantastic. Thank you guys and girls, really appreciate it. Okay, so on behalf of myself, on behalf of Gorilla's Censored Thoughts, on behalf of Sci-Fi Sifdan, and on behalf of PvP, my beautiful wife Suzanne, my 2 cats, Moonpie and Deja Vu, on behalf of all of us, and of course, the aisle is now closed, as Mr. Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune used to say. Want to thank everyone for being here, and I think this experiment is a good success, and we can build upon it for future streams. And just keep an eye out for us. Remember, here at Mikey Source 4, you always expect the unexpected, everybody and everyone all at once. So, everybody say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Good night, everyone.
Later.